Now, campaigning for the GE 2025 is almost over, and I think one thing that we can be clear is there are hardcore supporters on both sides of the ruling party or the opposition. But one thing I need to make note of is the fact that there are people called swing voters in this era. So, what do you mean by swing voters? Swing voters is voters that do not have a strong sense to either side, but they still have to vote. So they go either way. Either you go to one party or go to the other, or for some weird reason, spoil your vote. Which, yes, you do vote, but you choose to spoil it. Examples of spoiling your vote is you do not indicate anything on your ballot paper, or you put your markings on both candidates. And from my experience as a counting agent in the previous general election, that is usually considered an invalid vote, or rather a spoiled rejected vote. So this is something that is highly discouraged, because these kind of spoiled votes can make or break winning margins in some of the tightest of elections fight. Because you have to remember that whenever there's a within 1-2% win margin, candidates are allowed to call for a recount, or they can request for a recount, and which will make the counting process, it will drag on. So highly recommend not to spoil a vote, even if, let's say, you do not like either party, be it in the opposition or the ruling party or an independent candidate, or you don't agree with anyone. So please do not spoil a vote if you can. But moving forward though, now going back to the topic of swing voters, right? So what each side, be it opposition or ruling party, is trying to fight on? So as I mentioned, there are hardcore supporters on both sides. So, PAP have the hardcore supporters on the grassroots level, and the opposition have hardcore supporters from the working class, for example, like, your typical uncles, aunties, young people, for example. So, swing voters are usually those that either first-time voters that not so sure where to choose or what to stand for. So, in rallies and in like pamphlets or flyers, in these publicity materials that each of the candidates actually send out, they usually highlight their future plans for the town, policies that they plan to implement in parliament or to pursue after if elected. And it's like kind of like getting to the nitty gritty, to say the word, like, what exactly they're trying to do in parliament. And sometimes when they say opposition suggests that I have an alternative idea for, let's say, lower GST, for example, and they argue that in a rally, and of course you will have the ruling party, the incumbent, that will fight back and says, oh, we have a reason why we want to increase it, but then it's an example, by the way, so don't quote me on that. I'm just using it to explain what a swing voter is. So swing voters have kind of a more trickier choice, because it's not as easy as it is, because they can choose to choose a variety of criteria to choose their candidate for parliament or for their constituency. For example, charismatic, like, is my MP a charismatic man? Is he a man of his word, or is she a woman of his word, for example, of her word rather, sorry. Or or he or she is relatable, very chill, I can approach her anytime for any assistance. That's one thing. Second is, what does my potential MP stand for in parliament? Like, women's rights, healthcare, transportation, nation building, and these are things will affect the big picture in parliament, like coming up when they are elected lah. So yeah, so most of all, that is that. And also primarily also belief, like individual list of a swing voter is like, what do I believe in my country? Do I really want a country where I want to have a more diverse opinion in parliament? Like, I want to have more diverse opinions in parliament, or do I want to have a stable system that knows what on earth they are doing, and just continue selling as per normal, as per like the previous term of parliament, or whatever you want to mention it. But that's one criteria as well. So that being said, how would I advise a swing voter to choose? I cannot dictate each and every one of you how to vote. Like, I'm not gonna say, oh, vote him or vote that. All I have to say is, you have to vote based on what you truly believe in. Because end of the day, right, it's the most noble vote they can cast for is a vote that you really believe in, and you can take some responsibility from it. Well, at least when results comes out on Saturday night on the 3rd of May, at least can sleep at night knowing that at least I tried. At least I made my voice count. And if majority of my other Singaporeans agree, no, or disagree with me, well, at least I can sleep well in knowledge that, these are what my other Singaporean citizens think. And from there, the whole campaigning and the whole election is over by then, and we all go back to normal, and we never know what might come on the night of the 3rd of May. So I plan to, this is one of my last general election views I can make, because I'm making this on the Labor Day evening, so I will not be able, because cooling off day, there is no way you can promote, or the main purpose of cooling off day is to let the electorate think properly before they make their choice the next day, which is on the 3rd of May. So as a law, you're not allowed to campaign, you're not allowed to do any more rallies, any more political speeches and all. Tonight is the most important night in the campaign period, where this is your last message that you can give out before people go to the polls and decide who they want to vote for. So as I mentioned, vote wisely. Please do not spoil your vote, because it is the worst thing you can do. And yeah, please think properly. Yeah.